Have you ever noticed that some people never say that they hate queer people? They say things like they're worried or concerned, protecting children, defending the family, preserving values. Child, I don't know what happened, but it appears that hate got a rebrand and no one was really informed. Somewhere, somehow, it appears that it stopped wearing combat boots and started wearing beige knitwear from the traditional values section of the mall. I think that is what makes it dangerous. When hate arrives screaming, you know what room you're in. But when it arrives smiling, holding a Bible verse, a family portrait, and a plate of potato salad, suddenly everyone is confused. The person making you smaller is just concerned. The person trying to erase you is, well, standing for something. And suddenly, the knife has manners. What do we do when fear calls itself love, control calls itself protection, and family becomes a way of deciding who gets to belong? It's Wednesdays. Hello, hello, hello to the gays, to the straights, to the in-betweens, the allies, the curious, and everyone making their way through Pride Month, one conversation at a time. Welcome back to yet another episode of Wednesdays with Woody, where we are interrupting your, I don't know what, your Rainbow Rumble Wednesday to talk about family, fear, and the suspicious things people do in the name of love. Today, I want to talk about the kind of hate that does not always sound like hate. The kind wrapped in soft language and good intentions. We all know the kind that insists it's being reasonable while quietly asking everyone else not subscribed to a particular way of life to be less visible, less honest, less themselves. Well, this episode arrives to you in Pride Month, a time when apparently, or rather through my observation, people tend to reveal themselves and their intentions towards the LGBTQIA+ community. Just wild to me. And I'll admit, I know it's the algorithm baiting me, based off of one conversation I had sometime last week, and by the time I'd caught myself, I knew enough damage had been done to my social media viewing time that actually I was going to be bombarded with people observing hatefulness all over the place. And I was just like, oh Lord, what have I done? I really want to be clear about something before we get started with this conversation. I am not coming to you as a person who studies religious texts. No, I'm not a politician. I'm not trying to convert you. I am not trying to get you to see a different way of life. No. We're not doing that. But I think that it is important to be really honest about where I am coming from. I am a gay man. I am someone's husband. I'm a person with faith-adjacent questions and someone who has heard enough love thy sinner energy to last me several lifetimes. This is not therapy. This is not a sermon. This is just a conversation. A conversation with receipts, with feelings, and enough jokes, I hope, but I don't know how I'm feeling today, but I hope enough jokes to remind us to just chill out. Chill out, and it's really not that serious. Especially the things that happen on the net. Like, go outside. We're going to look at how family values get weaponized, why protection language can become dangerous, what Pride Month backlash tells us about fear, and why real love never requires someone to disappear. So, let us start with a pattern many people know all too well: affection with conditions attached. Most people have experienced some version of conditional acceptance. The conversation starts warmly enough, then comes the qualification. I do not agree with your lifestyle. Do you have to talk about it? Please do not bring him home. What will people say? Different wording, same message. You can belong, but only within limits someone else has set. I get it. Families are complicated. Faith is complicated. Culture is complicated. Some people genuinely do not know how to respond when someone they love tells them the truth. They panic. They reach for a very old language that sounds like it was downloaded from a church pamphlet printed somewhere in 1946. But there's a difference between confusion and control. A difference between needing time and making someone pay rent in your discomfort. A difference between saying, I'm learning, and saying, I will love you only if you make yourself smaller. That is where the wound lives. Many queer people know what it feels like to be accepted only in edited form. Welcome but quieter. Included but not fully. Allowed to exist as long as nobody sees too much joy, honesty, or freedom. And at some point, you realize this kind of love is not really love. It's a custody. It is someone trying to keep the version of you they understand, even if that version was built out of silence. And Pride Month really pushes back against that. It says, no, actually, we're not shrinking for your comfort. We're not moving quietly through our own lives so someone else can preserve a fantasy of normal. It's also not enough reading of history or what pride and queer people have lived through and gone through has been done. Genuinely, I continuously find myself confused. It's 2026. The closet has terrible lighting. No one belongs in there. But I feel like we discussed this last week. This same logic obviously shows up around family tables, in politics, law, and culture. It just wears a different suit and calls a press conference. This year's Pride Month has been met with the familiar backlash, and to be honest with you, I'm quite bored. I find myself bored. I struggle to understand, and I'm going to try and be PG about this, but who someone is sleeping with, loving, building a family with, existing with, why is this anyone else's concern except the two people involved? I digress. I've seen that in parts of the US, some Republican-led states have started promoting alternatives like Nuclear Family Month, or Strong Families Month, or Fidelity Month. On paper, it sounds really wholesome, family, commitment, stability, very greeting cardile. But in context, it sits directly against Pride Month, intended to send a very strong and clear message. Your visibility is a threat to our version of family. That is the trick. The language sounds protective, but the target is obvious. Pride becomes excess. Queer visibility becomes moral disorder. LGBTQIA+ families become something traditional families must defend themselves against. Which, if you think about it, is kind of wild. Because queer people are also families. We are children, siblings, parents, spouses, aunties, uncles, cousins, godparents, and the emotionally overqualified friend who becomes everyone's unpaid therapist at the Bri. The conversation is not only taking place or happening in America. Ghana's parliament recently passed a sweeping LGBTQIA+ bill that criminalizes LGBTQIA+ identity and support. And again, the language is familiar. Family, values, protection, children. Beautiful words. Words that can become weapons. Nobody is against families or children being safe. The issue is when those words become a way of deciding who counts as fully human. Pride was never simply a party. It was a refusal of enforced shame. It exists because queer people were told to be invisible and then had the audacity to become visible with choreography, eyeliner, constitutional demands, and excellent signage. So when pride is countered with family, we should ask, whose family? Whose values? Whose safety? Family is not the enemy. Faith is not the enemy. Protection is not the enemy. The problem is what fear does when it dresses up as all three. And if I'm being completely honest, as a black queer person moving through the world, I sometimes find myself pausing before jumping into these culture war conversations. Part of me looks around and wonders, weren't some of these same people passionately opposing Black History Month just a few months ago? It can be difficult to take appeals to tradition and values and concern at face value when the pattern seems less about protecting people and more about deciding which people deserve to be celebrated, seen, or included, and even protected. But let's be honest, family can be beautiful. Family can feed you, hold you, and know exactly how you take your tea. It can be the auntie who saves you a plate, the cousin who checks in quietly, the sibling who notices the tension before you speak, the parent who learns slowly but keeps learning. I do not want to throw family away. I believe in chosen family, blood family, complicated family, and community family. Love has many accents. Faith can be beautiful too. It can give people language for awe, grief, justice, and mercy. The problem is not faith. The problem is when faith becomes a border wall around compassion. Protection matters too. Children should be protected. Families should be protected. But protection becomes dangerous when it stops asking who is being harmed and starts asking who is making me uncomfortable. That is the shift. A queer person existing does not harm a child. A trans person needing healthcare does not harm a family. Two men holding hands do not collapse civilization. Like, are we for real? What harms people is shame, silence, rejection, violence. Families that turn love into a contract. Politicians who use queer people as campaign furniture because they have nothing useful to say about jobs, housing, or groceries. When people say they're protecting children from queer people, can we ask, what are they teaching queer children about themselves? When they say they're defending family, are we allowed to ask why queer families do not count? And when they say they're preserving values, can we ask whether those values include dignity and mercy? I mean, you know what? I said what I said. I said what I said. One thing I find fascinating is how often pride gets treated as if it is the problem rather than the response. People see the parade, the flags, the glitter, the celebrations, and assume that that is the whole story. It is not. Pride exists because shame existed first. It exists because people were told to hide, to apologize, to edit themselves into something more acceptable. And honestly, that pressure has not disappeared. It has just become more sophisticated. How is any of this hard to understand? These days, the message is often not do not exist. It's more exist quietly. Be yourself, but not so publicly. Love who you love, but do not make it your whole personality. Which is interesting because nobody says that to people posting engagement pictures or photos every second Tuesday. The point of Pride is not that queer people are more important than anyone else. The point is that nobody should have to earn their humanity by being invisible. That is why the backlash matters. Not because it hurts our feelings, but because it reveals something deeper. It reveals how uncomfortable some people still are with the idea that queer lives deserve the same openness, dignity, and celebration as everyone else's. And that is exactly why Pride remains relevant. Not because queer people need permission to exist, but because visibility is still being negotiated. Because belonging is still being negotiated. Because there are still people being told that honesty will cost them family, community, opportunity, safety. No, man. So maybe what we've been discussing today is not only about Pride Month. Maybe it's the old human temptation to call fear love when love feels too demanding. Because real love, well, it asks us to stretch, to listen, to let go of the version of someone we had invented and meet the person actually standing in front of us. Pride matters because it refuses the cage. It refuses the lie that queer people are threats to family. It refuses the idea that visibility is excess. It refuses the fantasy that silence keeps everyone safe. Pride says, year after year, we are here, not as an argument, as people, as family, as beloved, as friends. I struggle to understand why that is so hard to comprehend. Why our erasure why our erasure seems to be the thing that's going to solve the equation. As though, I don't know, somehow, when we started allowing those queer people to exist, that's when the world started falling apart, right? When we allowed them to, be who they were, that's when things really went awry. Because things weren't bad before. They were great. Peaches. Lovely. My golly gosh. You know what? If this episode gave you language for something you've carried or are carrying, share it with someone who has ever heard, I love you, but. And they knew that the but was there. Like a knife. But we can't end like this. No, we can't end like this. We definitely can't end like this. It's so negative. Okay. Let me stop laughing. Let me get serious. I've had people tell me, stop the laughter. And the reason why we can't end like this is because, Wednesdays with Woody is really about, positivity. I hate to leave you guys going into the week with something so incomplete, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate and fear masquerading as love. And it can be confusing. It can be really tiring, The older I've gotten, I've actually seen myself look at the whole picture and just say, you know what, no, I'm not going to engage. I mean, you can post what you want to post, you can say what you want to say, you can live your life the way you want to live your life. I'm not going to get involved. I'm over here living my life, I hope, in complete love, in complete light, in complete happiness. And I'm not going to change that for the world. And I'm not going to compromise either my peace and well-being for anyone else. It's just not happening. Like, it's just a complete waste of time. For me, at least, Like, I know that we need people to carry on the fight. But sometimes when I'm online and I'm watching all of this, I really am asking myself, like, who owns this narrative? No. Who owns this narrative, and why should I get involved? Why should I add and lend my voice to this cultural war? And I'm not saying be silent and do nothing and, I don't know, watch life unravel and watch your rights disappear. Absolutely not. I'm just saying that we find ourselves in a moment in time where I don't know if everything I see online I can believe. I know people are trying to sell me something. I know people are trying to convert me. I know people are trying to get me to buy into their opinions and belief systems and whatever narratives they've actually concocted. But I don't have to. I can decide for myself what is true for me. And I feel like a lot of people forget that. You forget your own agency. And I really hope that as this world goes deeper into whatever unraveling it does, or as we find ourselves having to confront really difficult conversations and experiences, we really do ask ourselves very critically, like, why do I need to involve myself in this? Am I defending someone I love? Am I protecting someone I love? Or am I spewing more hate and more venomous rhetoric into, like, the universe? Like, my mother always said, if you have got nothing nice to say, you need to shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. And I really do live by that rule. Like, anyone who knows me knows, like, I love having a really multifaceted, really multicultural, a real boiling point, like a real boiling pot, not point, real boiling pot of people around me from different walks of life, because it just makes life that much more interesting when someone's got a different perspective or a different view from me or a different insight from me, where I can sit back and I can be like, ooh, I did not know that. Thank you for teaching me something today. Thank you that I got to learn something from you as a human being that I did not know. And I don't know why everyone doesn't live like that. Why do you have to live in these tiny little messed up groups where we just are trauma bonding and just like living in like a silo of bias rhetoric? Like, oh, is it not boring? Are you not bored all the time? Like, no, stop it. Just stop it. And I'm going to stop over here because I am beginning to ramble. And no, we have come to the end of this week's episode, guys. I am sending you clarity. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you hope. And I'm wishing that as this week unfolds and draws to a close, that, I don't know, you remember this. If your love, or if the love that you're receiving from someone needs you to disappear, it is not love at all. It is fear with better manners. And with that, I bid thee adieu. Until next week, my loves. Ciao.